Hey everyone, and welcome. In our digital world, your personal info is, well, it's everywhere. But have you ever wondered who's actually protecting it? Today, we're going to break down a super important law in the Philippines that gives you rights over your data, the Data Privacy Act of 2012.
Think about it. Every single time you sign up for an app, apply for a job, or even just browse online, you're sharing little pieces of yourself. But have you ever really stopped to think about who's collecting all that information and what in the world are they doing with it? That's the big question, and it's exactly why this law exists.
Okay, so before we dive into the nitty-gritty rules, let's talk about the big idea here. Why did the government feel the need to create a whole law just for this? Well, the answer is all about finding a really crucial balance.
Now, this right here, this is the core mission. The law, which is officially called Republic Act 10173, isn't about slamming the brakes on technology or business. Not at all. It's about protecting our fundamental right to privacy while still allowing for all the innovation and growth that comes from information flowing freely. It's a total balancing act.
So, the law protects our personal information. But what does that really mean? What does it cover? Honestly, it's probably a lot broader than you think. And when we talk about what companies do with your data, we call that processing. And processing is basically anything, collecting it, storing it, sharing it, you name it. The law actually splits our data into two key categories.
First up, you've got your basic personal information. Just think of this as anything that can point directly back to you. Your name, your address, your email, a photo where someone can clearly see it's you. If it can be used to figure out who you are, yep, it counts.
But then there's the second, even more protected category. It's called sensitive personal information. This is the kind of data that's so personal, if it got into the wrong hands, it could be used to discriminate against you or really cause you harm. So the law puts some extra strong locks on this type of info. And here you can see exactly what falls under that sensitive umbrella. Just take your health records. If that data leaked, an insurance company could potentially use it to deny you coverage, right? Or maybe an employer could use it to pass you over for a job. The law gets that this stuff is deeply personal, and that's why it needs an even higher level of protection. All right, to really get how this all works, we need to meet the three main characters in the story of your data. See, every single time your information gets collected or used, these three roles come into play. And this is the most crucial part. You are right at the center of this entire law. You're the data subject. It's your information, and they're your rights. You're the star of this whole show. Don't ever forget that. This breaks it down perfectly. So you're the data subject, the star. Then you have the personal information controller. Think of them like the movie director. They're the ones deciding why your data is needed and how it's going to be used. So a bank or a social media company, for example. And the personal information processor, that's the film crew. They get hired by the director to do the actual work, like a third-party company that manages the bank's customer database. Okay, so now we know what data is protected and who the players are. So let's get to the rulebook. How exactly are these controllers and processors supposed to handle your information? The law lays out three core principles they absolutely have to follow. These three principles are the absolute foundation. They're non-negotiable. First, transparency. Companies have to be totally upfront with you about what data they're collecting and why. Second, legitimate purpose. They can't just collect data for any old reason. It has to be for a specific, lawful purpose. And third, proportionality. This means they should only collect the data they actually need for that purpose, and nothing more. No hoarding. So beyond those core principles, the law gets very specific about when your data can even be processed. Of course, clicking "I agree," giving your consent, that's the most common one. But it's also okay if it's needed for a contractor signing, if another law requires it, or even in a medical emergency to literally save your life. The main point is, it's not a free-for-all out there. There are rules. Okay, so we have all these rights and rules, but who's making sure everyone's actually following them? Who's the referee in this whole game? Well, the law created a really powerful independent group just for that purpose. Everybody meet the National Privacy Commission, or the NPC. This is the lead agency in charge of making sure the Data Privacy Act is enforced. You can think of them as the official guardians of your data rights, and their entire job is to make sure your privacy is respected. And let me tell you, the NPC has some real teeth. They can investigate your complaints, they can order a company to immediately stop what it's doing with your data, and they can even recommend that criminal charges be filed. This just goes to show you, the Data Privacy Act has serious consequences for anyone who breaks the rules.
So there you have it, your rights under the Data Privacy Act. You are the data subject, and you've got a powerful law and a dedicated commission on your side. So maybe the next time you're about to click I agree, you'll pause for a second. The real question is, knowing what you know now, how will you protect your most valuable asset, your data?